Hey, it's Doug, Growing in Faith Farm, dropping off a video today. I thought it would be an interesting topic because it seems like on YouTube, there's like two schools of thought for people that want to unplug or live a more simplistic life. Okay, and the train of thoughts are a full-time RVer or a homesteader. Okay, so it's kind of been on my mind, so I thought, man, I'll just go ahead and make a video about it, and then I'll present the information to you, and then you can make a decision, help you to make a decision. Okay. Now, I've never been a full-time RVer. Okay, but I have been a full-time traveler. Okay, I left home when I was 16, and I would spend my summers on the East Coast and my winters on the West Coast. All right. So I know about constantly moving. I know about like living out of a suitcase, if you will. All right, have a lot of experience in that. And plus, we had a Harley Davidson, the wife and I, and we traveled on the Harley Davidson from coast to coast, and from the Sturgis to Bike Week. Okay, so we were all over the place on our bike. As a matter of fact, to complete the whole Harley Davidson experience, we went on a trip out to the West Coast after stopping in Colorado and having a great time going on a whitewater rafting trip, continuing our journey up through to San Francisco, then down PCH to LA. The first night we were in LA, my motorcycle was stolen. So I've had the full Harley Davidson experience. And like I said, since I was 16, I've been a traveling man. Okay. Now, our journey started about 5 years ago, where we decided that we were just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Just like a lot of Americans who are probably watching this video today are feeling, because it's just like, the government's taxing and spending, they creating this fiat currency. There's no accountability anymore. It's just everything's running amok. Okay, and so what we decided was that for a SHTF, I always have to think about that a little bit. It's kind of tricky. The SHTF situation, would we rather be full-time living in an RV or on a homestead? Okay? Because we thought about both. When we had a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house, okay? I don't know what it was, like $280,000 house. I mean, it was just, we had a big mortgage payment, huge taxes. I kind of talked about it in my other videos. I think our taxes were like $3,600, and steadily going up, because what they want to do is they want to reassess your value every year, so that way they can raise your taxes, so that way they can fund more government. If you think your house, don't ever wonder why house prices have doubled, tripled, and quadrupled so quickly? It's because government is growing. And it's at an unsustainable rate, and they can't, they can only steal so much from you, and there's going to come a tipping point, and they know it. So basically, we decided that we were going to get ahead of the game, that we wanted to become more sustainable, have less stuff, and have more emphasis not on quantity of life, but on quality of life. Okay, so the wife and I talked about becoming full-time RVers, and we also talked about maybe getting an RV and then maybe just putting it on some land. And we never envisioned like where we are today. Okay, so when you look at our videos and you see this, how we are today, and the buggies and the horses and plowing with the horses and the wood cook stove, this isn't what we envisioned when we just started thinking about this 5 years ago. This has been our process. Okay, so you're seeing the end result of a 5-year process, which if you stick with us, you're going to see continually to grow. All right. So we did consider full-time RVing, but my wife really likes what she does. She's a teacher. She teaches young children at Montessori schools, and she also teaches seniors, and she has personal clients that she teaches. She does physical stuff, movement, flexibility, also holistic living, eating, stuff like that, as you can tell by her videos on our channel. Okay, so she really enjoys what she's doing. She's been at these Montessori schools for like 30 years, so she didn't want to stop doing that just yet. But I will tell you that over the time we've been up here, it went from 5 days to 4 days to now 3 days, and now we're already saying After spring break and after the new session starts, it'll only be 2 days. Okay, so she's slowly peeling off. Okay, but myself, I was ready to go. I had a lawn care landscape business. We had also had like a five and dime store, general merchandise store where we sold hats, sunglasses, NASCAR stuff, baseball stuff, NFL, NHL, NBA, all that kind of stuff, costume jewelry, games, board games, magic tricks, just whatever. I mean, it was just like a little cool place. We came up with an idea and name of it, just like we did with our lawn care business in our living room with our kids, and we called it the Good Price Store. And our stuff generally was maybe $10, $20 for some stuff, and then we had a little higher end sports memorabilia, but nothing was too expensive. So it was called the Good Price Store, and it was pretty fun. It was a good fun thing, and of course the lawn care landscape thing was lucrative, and we did a good job. Growing that business from the card table in our living room, like Dave Ramsey says. We sat down with the kids, we came up with a name, and then we just, I just went for it, and I was, successful at it. Usually I'm pretty good at what I set my mind to do, so, it was a blessing. So I sold all that stuff, I was done with it, and we had our house. I wanted to get rid of the house, all that stuff. We had all this furniture, all these, TVs, just everything, just so much stuff. I mean, you never even realize how much stuff you actually have until you really have to start going through it. And it was like, holy smokes, man, we had so much stuff. So we started selling all that stuff, and then it was like, okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to get an RV and be full-time RVers? Maybe we'll just get an RV and buy a patch of land and live off the land, in the RV. I bought a F-350 dually. I was ready to go. We were going to all the RV shows and going to the lots and checking them out. On one of our trips out to California when my bike got stolen, we went with some friends, long-term friends of the family, people we've known for a long time. And we stopped in Colorado and went on this whitewater rafting trip. So it was so cool. I thought, man, the kids would really enjoy this. So the following year, we rented a van RV, big one. And we drove my mom and my kids and the dog out to Colorado and had a great time, and so that gave us a little taste, So we were seriously considering it, okay? And then we started weighing out the pros and the cons, right? So I'm going to kind of share with you our thought process and how we ended up on a homestead instead of being full-time RVers. And as a side note, I just want to say I'm a free-spirited guy. I left home when I was 16, and I spent my summers on the East Coast and my winters on the West Coast. I love to travel. And I think men in general are probably like that. And I think women in general are probably nesters. They like to have a solid place. They like to have a nest, a rooted area. So I think that's something to consider, that men, if you're thinking about doing this and your wife fully isn't on board, just remember to be compassionate towards her feelings too. Don't have a my way or the highway attitude, okay? Just a little happy wife, happy life advice. So, we talked about it, and we were going to go with it. We were going to go for it. So like I said, you see this wood cook stove, and you see our log cabin, our log home, and you see our animals. But this is how we've evolved. I mean, when we initially set out to do this, we might have thought we would have the horses we bought. When we bought the property came with some horses. We might have thought, oh, we'll have those horses, and maybe we'll have a garden, because when I first got here, I had a big 190 Alice Chalmers tractor. We're going to upload some pictures on our website, Growinginfaithfarm.com, and we're just going to kind of, we're trying to use that too as a media to kind of tell our story, okay? And I had a Bobcat, a Gale skid steer, and I had a zero-turn mower, and so we were going to be like this modern homesteader, kind of, if you will, or whatever, where we had the brush hog on the big tractor, and it had a front loader on it, and I had a Bobcat, and so we moved up here after weighing out the pros and the cons, which I'm going to go over in a second, of full-time RVing versus the homestead, okay? And then when we moved up here, this process started on me where I used the big 190 to lift up these logs and to build this home, right? So it served its purpose. But then I started thinking about long-term sustainability. I thought, what if the SHTF really happens, right? What if we can't get gas? What if gas goes to $20 a gallon and we just, you can't afford it, And there's no way that anyone can say that this won't happen, because it's a huge possibility that it could happen, okay? So then I started thinking about the zero-turn lawnmower and the skid steer and the big tractor, and I thought, man, I have got to think of a way that where we will not be dependent on that stuff. And then fortunately, again, for us, we live close by the Amish, and I was developing a relationship. This is how this all transpires. Developing a relationship with them and then watching what they do, and I'm like, man, why wouldn't I do that? So with zero horse experience or anything else, I began amassing a team of horses to plow the land and a horse and buggy to travel with. And, that's how we got to where we are today, is just studying, watching, and applying, okay? So, this isn't how we always were. Stacy and I are both city people. We've always been in the city. We've always had the creature comforts. So when you see this, it's not like we grew up this way or anything. Okay, our parents don't hold this philosophy. Okay, so basically we sat down and we started thinking about the trailer stuff, the RV, and like I said, I bought the F350, the dually, and we were ready to go. We were going to go for it. And so we start moving forward, and we're going to the RV shows. We're narrowing it down. I'm on Craigslist. We even went out and looked at some of them. And then I started thinking about, well, what if we got land and we put the RV on it? But what if we got land and maybe I could build something different, or maybe we can buy one of those little shed things, like a 16 by 32 or something like that, and make that into our home, So then the process started getting, a little more optionable, things we were thinking of. And then we started thinking like this, okay? One, RV traveling and the freedom that it brings is awesome. You can go wherever you want, you can put a tank of gas in, go as far as it takes you, pick up some odd and end job or whatever, put in another tank of gas. It's awesome. If you don't like your neighbors, you can move. If you don't like the scenery, you can move. It's like a constant adventure all the time. Okay, I'm not saying that homesteading is not, because it definitely is. But I'm just saying there's a freedom that is involved with that. Okay, so we started thinking about, like, well, what if the SHTF really does happen? SHTF. What if it really does happen? What if gas goes to $20 a gallon? I said, well, then we're messed up, because our vehicles are dependent on the gas. So if something was to happen while we're traveling, we would basically be kind of stuck in that area wherever we're at. Let's say we like to go to the desert in the wintertime because it's warmer, and then this stuff happens and we can't get gas, then we're stuck in the desert, and summer's coming, so it's going to be like 120 degrees. And then you can't run generators and you can't cool your place. So, we just started thinking about all that stuff, What if, food storage, we started thinking about that. Like, how much food could you actually put on an RV? And if you're constantly traveling, then that means probably pretty sure you're not going to be like growing your food, okay? And there are places, where people post up in their RVs for quite a while. But I don't see many people having like a garden producing and canning food, living in their RV. And if you have a link to one, please leave it below. I love to learn new stuff and see how someone is actually doing that. But from the most I can tell is most RV dwellers are totally dependent on a functioning system, okay? Which means that they are dependent on a store to go to. They're dependent on inexpensive or relatively reasonable gas to purchase to move about. They're dependent on water. They're dependent on an electrical hookup. Even if they have solar panels, again, I said it in one of my other videos, I can't tell you how many videos, almost all of them, that I see with people that have solar panels that are constantly running their generator because the solar panels are not producing enough electricity because it's cloudy, it's rainy, it's whatever, okay? So, there's a certain level of dependency on being able to plug in to recharge your batteries if you do have solar, or to actually just operate your whole RV off of the grid. Okay. And of course, fuel if you have a generator. If you can't get fuel, then you're not going to have the generator. You see, so everything, it started getting to be where we were like, well, if we're really SHTF believers, then I don't know, it just going to the RV life, we just kind of moved away from it because of that. So then we started thinking about, well, what kind of structure could we live in if we just go homesteading and buy some rural land and take it from there. So then I started investigating log homes, and I just kind of found some pictures and basically started thinking about this 1800 style log cabin. And if you go to our website, growinginfaithfarm.com, we have a picture of the original plans that I drew up, okay, that are there. And that's how it all started. And then I was on the hunt to find some logs, and I luckily did run across some logs that were already seasoned, that were kind of hanging out, that I could cut, have saw at the sawmill, and then saddle notch and build the log home that we're in today. Okay, so that was a little more appealing. Okay, because of the situation after we did the pros and cons. Right. So then once we got here, like I said, we had the big tractor, we had the skid steer, we had the zero turn, and then I started thinking again along the RV lines, like, man, what if gas gets too expensive? What if you can't get parts? What if? So I started thinking, okay, so we're gonna go 1800 style. We're gonna use the horses. We're gonna provide for the horses, and they're gonna provide for us. Then we're gonna raise animals. We wanted to raise sheep, because we eat the lambs. And then we wanted to have a big garden, so we have 1,000 square foot garden. And then those things that we produce there, the kale, the lettuce, the corn, the potatoes, the onions, everything out there, peppers, tomatoes, all are seed-bearing plants. Okay, what the Father tells us that He's going to provide for us for food is the seed-bearing plant, which means that when those plants are done and they're in their maturity, they're going to produce seeds for the next year. So as long as we're taking care of everything properly, we're always going to have a constant food supply. And plus, we're taking that bounty from the garden, and then we're canning it or lactose fermentating it, and then we are storing it up, and we have a food bank. Okay, and so that was the appealing part of the homesteading. Because we have 5,000 gallons, not right now, we're working on the first 2,500 of water storage, okay? And then we have all of our food here, and we have our animals which can pull our buggies, which can provide us transportation. Because if gas goes to $20 a gallon, it's going to be game over, okay? The rich people are going to be able to drive around in their cars, but the poor people will not, okay? And everything will just kind of slow down, and it's just going to be crazy. Okay, just think about it. And $20 a gallon for gas is not, like some out of the picture thing. All right, look around the globe today, and you will find guaranteed prices that I just talked about, or very close to it, per gallon of gas. All right. So for us, after we talked about the RV life, full timing. Then we talked about the sustainability of homesteading 1. All right. So I'm a free person by nature. I left home when I was 16. I love to travel. Summers on the East Coast, winters on the West Coast. I mean, we had a Harley. We did Harley trips. We went East Coast, West Coast, Sturgis, Bike Week, all that stuff. Matter of fact, we took a trip out to California on the Harley, and my bike was stolen in Venice Beach, California. So I did the whole Harley Davidson experience. I've been a traveler. I've lived out of a suitcase when I was in my whole young adult life. My first 2 children were born on the road of traveling. You know what I mean? So I fully know what that's all about, and I love it. But at the current state our country's in, we didn't feel that was a valuable option for us. And besides the fact that my wife really enjoys what she does for work, and until she's in a comfortable position of just walking away from doing that totally, and then us just kind of traveling and making money as we travel, then this is where we're at. Okay. So I just kind of wanted to drop off a video and kind of talk about the kind of stuff we weighed out between RV living full time and homesteading. I don't see many RV people with a couple chickens cranking out eggs. So there's a big benefit in being able to have the land produce the food, especially in a SHTF situation. Okay, and I see a lot of YouTube videos, and I see still a lot of people that are totally dependent on fossil fuels and stuff like that. And I'm just encouraging you guys, try to get away from that stuff as much as you can, because there's going to come a time, and this, you just maybe don't want to face up to it, but there's going to come a time, even you preppers or anybody else out there, there's going to come a time when this stuff is not going to be that readily available. Will it be in our lifetime? I don't know. But you can see the writing on the wall. You can kind of see what's going on, and so that's pretty much my story. Hopefully you gleaned a little something from it. I have nothing against full-time RVers. Maybe in our future we might do it, but after we weighed out these pros and cons, like I explained to you here today, this is how we ended up on the homestead. And then like I said, it's been a process for us, and we're just trying to share with you what we've learned and maybe give you some insight and some things to think about. So we appreciate you stopping by our channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Leave a comment if you want to talk about something or add to what I've discussed, or how maybe you've thought about things. And share us with a friend. Put us on Facebook. Check out our website, growinginfaithfarm.com. It's under construction, but we're getting it done a little at a time, and hopefully it'll be a cool place. We're gonna have a blog on there possibly, and then have a marketplace on there, because we like to sell some stuff and offer some things, and just a way to communicate and connect. So we do appreciate all of our viewers and all the people that are taking the time out to watch our videos, and we'll be dropping off. Oh, and somebody asked us about shampoo, and if you're watching this video, just know that Stacy this weekend coming up is going to do a video about shampoo and conditioner, and a holistic and very easy way that you can make it. All right, thanks a lot.